guest is usually remembered for two things: winning the Eurovision Song Contest and singing barefoot, but she probably won't thank me for mentioning either. She spent the past 20 years being buffeted by the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, doing everything from writing to waitressing, all of which she describes in her autobiography, The World at My Feet. She's come a long way since she had her first #1 hit at the tender age of 17.
And every step I take recalls how much in love we used to be. Oh, how can I forget you when there is always something there to remind me? Always something there to remind me. Oh, I was born to love you, and I will never be free. You'll always be a part of me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sandie Shaw. The head got better then, Sandie, did it? You
That was the Jeff Banks design, if you don't mind.
Oh, foot in mouth,
Yeah.
first gaff. It seems reading the book that fashion and image was never something that you thought an awful lot about. It just sort of happened by chance, is that right?
I think I did when I was very young, but it just gets a bit of a bore. All the time you have to worry about what you're looking like all the time. And that seems to be all that people are concerned with.
Look, can I ask the most boring question of all? The one you must get asked countless times, but I don't know the answer. Why did you sing barefoot?
Oh, I think I wrote in the book all the different reasons why, but basically it's because it was sexy. That's the real truth.
You had good-looking feet then, that was
No,
it.
I
mean,
didn't.
some people
actually,
are far from sexy.
Well, the other thing was that I was still am very short-sighted, and it stopped me from falling off the edge of the stage. And what was the other reason? Oh, for the time I had big feet. Nowadays everybody has big feet. Mine are smaller than Lady Di's, so I'm okay. But they were about size 7 then. So, well, they're 7.5 now. I've stretched them. So it was easier to get shoes. To not wear shoes because I couldn't buy the right sizes.
It became very much I was going to say your stock in trade, but that would think that was a pun, wouldn't you?
Really
No, I didn't
corny.
mean that. No. But I mean, Eurovision thrust you into the limelight.
No, it didn't. I was a huge star when I was 17 years of age, and I made lots of really good records, things like Always Something There to Remind Me That You Heard, Girl Don't Come, Long Live Love. I was a really big star in Europe, and that was the reason they chose me to sing a song to represent Britain. And in a weak moment, I said yes, and regretted it ever since.
Because you don't like Puppet on the String much, do you?
Well, I just don't like the contest. I think it's rubbish, and the songs are rubbish, and I love music. And the rest of my material is really good. I'm really proud of it.
And yet, even with that song, you knew you'd won. So
Well, because everybody in Europe loved me anyway, and I could have sung Rule Britannia and I would have won. So I think it was a huge shock to the BBC. I don't think they realised quite what a huge star I already was. And it took me 25 years to recover from it, really.
as bad as that? I mean,
Yeah. I totally lost my self-esteem as an artist to have sung such rubbish. But I mean, it was a bit difficult for me to understand when I wanted to give so much that people accepted so little from me and thought it was okay.
Did you really feel exploited?
No, I was just very vulnerable at the time and pushed into it.
Looking back now, knowing what you know now, what you know then, what would you do differently? How would you carry yourself now compared with the way you did then?
I'd do everything exactly the same. Because what had happened during the 80s, the incredible thing happened that I was kind of rediscovered by all these different people. Mostly young people that helped me find myself. And I've changed every aspect of my life around. I've turned everything around, so I'm really kind of happy with everything now. And if I hadn't have gone through that and changed it, I would have no book to write about. So you've got to have lots of very heavy experiences as well as sort of light ones in order to make you a good artist.
A lot of people are very sentimental about the 60s. It strikes me that you're not, even though you met and worked with people like Lennon, like Jagger, like all the icons to the people who revere the 60s. Are you not impressed really by the 60s?
Well, there are certain people that I still find impressive. I've still got a passion on John Lennon. I always thought he was wonderful. Ever since I was about 13 or 14, I never loved Macca. Everybody else went for Paul McCartney or George Harrison, as was fashionable. I always liked John Lennon. There was something about his life that I really connected with. and I was a real fan. I used to actually go to get his autograph backstage. I used to pretend to be his cousin, anything to get his autograph. But then when I finally actually met him, because I was then become a star and been on the same programme as him, I realised he was never going to marry me. That he was never going to give up Cynthia, and that there were millions of other women thinking exactly the same thing. So my illusions were all shattered at that point. But the 60s were a funny time, and I think it's really good now that people are reassessing that time, because there were lots of good things in it. I think like the peace movement that came from the 60s is something worth remembering. I think also the feeling about young people having the power to change society is really good, and having a fresh approach to society, taking the things away that aren't very valuable, which I think, in a way, because like Eastern Europe is so far behind us, they still had that and they were able to turn everything round. But we've kind of lost that feeling a bit, maybe because we have so few young people now. But one of the reasons that I'm in the public eye again now, and one of the reasons I wrote my book, was to encourage young people. So there might be few of you, but an individual is incredibly powerful.
You had a very down period, you call it the dark ages, in the late 70s, when you were a waitress, you'd lost all your money. But
all my money?
All your money.
All my money,
then you turned to Buddhism then. Why Buddhism in particular? Was it there at the right time and it offered you what you needed?
I think so, and it was just common sense, to be quite honest. Nobody had told me any kind of common sense since I had been 16. This was the first thing that actually added up. 1 and 1 made 2.
Common sense in what way?
Well, like every principle that everybody explained to me, I thought, oh yeah, I'll try that, and it worked, and I understood it. I mean, the first thing that as a Buddhist I chanted for was £20,000. It's because I was really down, and I thought if I had that, I could make an album and really express myself. I got the £20,000 within a week. But
someone said a bit materialistic, that, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And then I began chanting more about it, and I realised that I didn't actually have the facility to... I didn't know myself well enough to actually express myself. Then, through chanting about the material side of it, I began to understand the spiritual aspect of it. And, like, that made sense to me. Like, these two things were two sides of one coin. You can't divorce the two.
Do you now feel totally fulfilled?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. What's all this? What's this idea about they're going to make a film of your life? Now, is this true? I didn't read
well,
this
everybody's very impressed with the book, and I think that even the title, "The World at My Feet," which sounds like a good movie. I can see it in Technicolor.
Who's going to play you?
Oh, I don't know. It'd have to be a multifaceted person. But there'll be different people, I presume. You know, because I've written about me as a child. My first memory is that I'm only about 2 months old. And I've written about me as a teenager, as a fan, and then as a teenager, as a star. And then there's the other time during my dark ages of the 70s when I lost my money, self-esteem, my confidence, babies, everything, husbands, the lot. And then during the 80s, as a more mature person, building everything back again with a different set of values, more lasting values that make me happy. Hopefully make everybody else around me happy too. So that would require about 5 different actresses. So it could be interesting doing the casting, but I don't think I'll get involved.
You don't give it that,
no.
but you do it all again.
Oh, absolutely. If it leads me here next to you on this couch, then definitely.
Bless your heart. Pleasure to talk to you, ladies and gentlemen. Sandie Shaw.